The Denver Nuggets announced they had fired head coach Michael Malone and general manager Calvin Booth.
Right.
Just 5 days before the end of the regular season. They had, I believe, 4 games to go. And this comes after there has been a lot of discussion that apparently over the past few seasons, since the championship essentially, there's been a lot of tension. It has been known by many between Calvin Booth, Michael Malone, a lot of staff members all around the building. It has basically become a divided workplace. And the Cronkies and their sports group decided, instead of getting rid of one, let's get rid of both. The new acting manager is going to be David Adelman, the lead assistant for the Nuggets. He's going to take over for the remainder of the season. And this comes as the Nuggets have lost 4 straight games. They're 47-32. There also is a chance of them falling into the play-in race because of the tiebreaker craziness that is going on in the Western Conference right now. But the short of it, Michael Malone, Calvin Booth out in Denver. And this is now the second head coach who has been fired in the last 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yes. But it's also the 4th NBA championship coach. 4 of the last 6 championship NBA coaches have been fired.
Yes.
Right?
May I ask?
Budenholzer, Vogel, Nurse, and now Michael Malone.
But in the case of Malone and Taylor Jenkins with the Grizzlies, Jenkins, people thought would be let go last year. He then got let go in the middle of the season. They felt it had run its course. We'll get rid of him now. In the case of Malone, you have 4 games left. You are sitting here 1 week from the playoffs. You are a title contender. You have all these things going for you. If you know you're going to let go of him, why wouldn't you, in this case with Malone, just wait for the offseason? If you know you're not going to win in the playoffs, and that's clearly how they've felt about it, why wouldn't you just get to the playoffs, lose, and then get rid of it? But now all of a sudden you have a 1 week circus going around where everyone's like, what's happening? What's going on? Why did this happen? I have a friend who works in Denver, and he was like, yeah, all of the newscasts led with this because it was gigantic news.
Sure it is, because, look, they've been the championship team.
They have the best player in the world.
Right. They have one of the 5 best players in the world playing for them. Now, let's start with Calvin. Okay. Calvin has worked his way through the ranks to get himself to be a general manager. In the championship year, he made all the right moves. Now, as time has gone, when you have a championship team, you have to make decisions on who you keep and who you transition. They're right now in 4th place in the West. They have not played well down the stretch. The riff, Calvin, they were working on an extension about 2 months ago with Calvin. Not with Michael Malone, but with Calvin. They were working on an extension. And then they broke the talks off. I'm talking about the team was like, and it's kind of... So Cal probably had an idea like, okay, something's not right here. Because they were working on one. Calvin was having a problem with Michael Malone, and Michael Malone was having a problem with Calvin. Why? It was over the usage of young players. Malone wanted to keep playing the older players.
He wanted Bruce Brown. He wanted Jeff Green. Caldwell Pope.
Right.
Players they weren't able to retain due to monetary reasons.
And Russell Westbrook. Okay. Calvin wants some of the younger players to play. Among them, Jalen Pickett. Well, Pickett, of course, would replace Russell Westbrook. Pickett goes out last week. I know it was a loss, but he had a triple-double.
First 2 starts, second start, triple-double.
Yeah. So validating how Calvin felt about him because he was the 32nd overall pick in the draft and the Nuggets' second-round pick a couple of years ago. And that became a real issue between the two about who was playing out there. For the Cronkies, this is a dramatic move. Look, the NBA is the ultimate in-house network. It's the ultimate in-house network. Michael Malone will have a job next year.
Yes.
Calvin Booth will have a job next year. They make sure in no uncertain terms that in one form or another, okay, the NBA, if you're in the loop, you are in the loop. It just means you're not in that city anymore.
Yes. And for those wondering at home saying, where have I heard the name the Cronkies before? They are a sports ownership group, Kroenke Sports Entertainment. Stan Kroenke is the owner. The one who runs everything is Josh Kroenke, his son.
He runs the Denver operation.
The Denver operation, and he also oversees a lot of things when it comes to the other sports team they have with Arsenal, who we'll get to later in the show.
Right.
My sports team, and as someone who's
like, this is what the Kroenkes own. He's real estate, the whole thing. So he owns Arsenal. He owns the Los Angeles Rams.
Yes.
Right, that sports complex down there that he put together. It's actually a campus because NFL Network's there. NFL.com is there at Hollywood Park. Okay.
Yeah.
Denver, they own the Nuggets, they own the Avalanche, and they own the Colorado Rapids of MLS.
And they have
that's where Josh Kroenke comes in. He's got more of the Denver properties
and
that he
also
looks after.
It seems like the Colorado Mammoth in the lacrosse, National Lacrosse League, and Arsenal Women's Football Club as well. Those are all the teams they have. So it's Denver, LA.
And this is not a money issue because remember, Kroenke is worth like billions and billions. And by the way, he's married to Ann Walton from the Walmart empire, and she's worth about $7 or $8 billion. So money is not an issue here. So they're now. What's interesting about Jokic, Malone's the only coach he's ever played for in the NBA.
10 years.
Look, let's simplify this. The key player is no question Jokic. The pivotal player. And I said this when they won the title, 3 years ago?
They won the title 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Back in 2022.
I said this 3 years ago. Okay? The pivotal player is Jamal Murray. What kind of record did the Nuggets have in 21-22 when Jamal Murray missed most of the season? Mediocre. It was good, not great. I think they lost in the second round of the playoffs or something like that.
I'm trying to pull up stats and we can run through this real quick.
Okay.
The Denver Nuggets back in 21-22 lost in the Western Conference first round.
Okay, first round.
They were 48-34 that season.
Right, and then Murray came back. Right, because they've been good in 20 and 21.
In 2020-21 Western Conference semifinals, they lost.
Right.
That was they had come back, I believe, in the 7 games.
Right. With Murray playing. Murray then gets hurt early in the season, misses the entire season. Now they're 14 over 500. He comes back in 22-23. They win the title. What's happened the last 2 weeks with Denver? Jamal Murray's been hurt.
They've gone 5-9 in their last 14 games. Murray has missed the last, I think, 6 or 7.
Right. He's missed the last 6 or 7 games, and I think they have a 5-game losing streak.
They have a 4-game losing streak, and Malone came out earlier this week or late last week, and they asked the question of Jamal Murray's health, and he kind of he said something along the lines of, we're hoping to have him back for the first round.
Right.
But he said it in a way that all of the reporters in Denver freaked out and were like, how he worded it was more of a, maybe he won't be back in time for the playoffs. And that's when everyone was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right. Because, look,
very different.
There's no question who the best player is.
Yes.
Right? But who is the player that then takes the best player and puts the organization over the top? It's been Jamal Murray.
Yes.
And it's just been proven out just by the record. When he's there, they're better. When he's not, they're good. And so when he's there, they're great. When he's not there, they're good. In other words, they're 14 over 500 without him in the one season. You know, you're not a bad team. You're good. There's only so much one guy can do, right? Well, we do have a management position here where we had 2 other guys who'd be better. All right, but that's just a what?
But
you see what I'm saying?
I agree.
He, you know, there's certain guys along the way that you refer to the opaque phrase of the X factor, right? It's the X factor is not. It's like the wind. You can't see it, but you can feel it. Okay, you can't really put when Penn State. Let's give you a basketball example. Okay. When Penn State made the Sweet 16 in 2001, Joe Crispin got a lot of justified publicity. John Crispin got a lot of justified publicity. The X factor in the entire team was Titus Ivory. And if you pull Joe aside today and just bring Titus Ivory's name up, you go, huh. The ultimate, he says you win every game. And I said to Joe at one point this season, when they were going through the tough streak, I said, Joe, how bad does this team need a Titus Ivory? He goes, oh, in the worst way. Hits some shots, makes the pass, plays some defense for you. Is he the best defender in the team? Maybe not, but he's probably second. Is he the best shooter on the team? Probably not. Joe would be. He'd be the second best. Best rebounder of the team? Probably not, but he's probably the second best. Right? We're just and it has the universal respect of everybody. Now, I don't know if Murray has the universal respect of everybody. I'm not around the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's everything you're saying is from 30,000 feet. But that's the kind of player Ivory was. When Ivory was in the lineup, Penn State was an exponentially better team. They're playing Providence in the 2001 opening round. Providence has a great, not good, but a great defensive guard in John Linehan. Averaged about 3 to 4 steals a game. I mean, really good. Like, everybody's like, oh, they're going to put him on Joe Crispin, the whole thing. Well, I mean, Crispin's not even going to get the ball over half court. Heard that over and over again leading in. Jerry Dunn, I remember he looked at me, he says, what do you think? I said, you won the game by 10, don't worry about it. They won the game by 10. Sorry. Sometimes you get one right.
Yeah.
Right? Because
shame.
Right. But what did Penn State do? This is to Jerry's credit. Because the guy that's the second best in everything on the team is also the second best ball handler. Titus Ivory brought the ball up the court, and Joe was just able to run down and run around, and Tim Welsh never took Linehan off him. See, when you have that kind of player that just has the ability to make the parts better, Murray makes the parts better in Denver. And it's been proven just by the fact is what is their record when he doesn't play versus what his record is when he does play. And down this stretch when Denver has been struggling, guess what? He has not been playing. Right? And that's a big loss for them. The biggest, Jokic is the best player.
But number two,
right? But Murray is the kind of guy that when he's out there, suddenly all the parts and the results get better. So that's been the issue. What they're going to do with this, it's going to be up to them as to what they do with it. Calvin will be fine. He developed a great reputation in Minnesota for a long period of time, working there before he went to Denver, and he was working with Tim Connelly. And then when Connelly took the Bulls job, he is
the Wolves job. Connelly's with the Wolves.
Connelly took the Wolves job. Somebody else took the Bulls job. There was the Bulls are involved in here somewhere, but he took.
Bulls GM is Mark Eversley.
Okay,
I believe.
So he takes that job. He's out. Okay, and Calvin ascends. Look, there'll be other people within the NBA that will hire him because he has not been sitting there as an executive for 3 years. He's been sitting as an executive in this thing for 15 years, scout before that. He's been in this a long time. So he'll find a spot. It's just unsettling for him to sit there today and go, okay, what do we do now? Because 3 months ago, he wasn't thinking about what are we going to do now. He was thinking about a contract extension and he and his family living in the Denver suburbs and him trying to construct a team. He was here scouting a game. Which game was it? It may have been the Maryland game. I think it was he was here for the Maryland game, scouting the game. And that's what he's been doing because he's always been hands-on. He wants to get out there and see it for himself because that's the old scout in him coming out. Same thing with Malone. Malone will be fine. He will find a spot somewhere within the NBA with the idea of maybe being an assistant coach someplace, and then some organization sitting there saying, you know what? He won an NBA championship. Let's hire him.
And
of course, he's Brendan Malone's son. So.
Yeah. You know who the hot rumor on the street is? The immediate reaction to it is, do you know what organization he has a lot of connections with? His father, of course, Brendan Malone, you mentioned, was an assistant with the team. Michael Malone himself was an assistant with the team at one point. He is, I believe, from the area and has a lot of connections with them, and they might have a new head coach opening come May. You want to give me a guess as to who you believe it is?
No.
It is the New York Knicks.
I thought you were going to say that, but I thought Tibbs was the deal.
Tibbs is the deal, but the thought would be, we've, of course, had all the discussion. Mikal Bridges came out and discussed the minutes thing, and brought that up against Tibbs. And
Tibbs.
the next night,
Tibbs.
put a game-winning shot in.
Tibbs, not getting it done.
Bridges.
Not getting it done.
Well, the rumor is if Tibbs and the Knicks, let's say, don't go past the second round, because as things stand, they will have the Celtics. And as we saw last night, they lost to the Celtics. The thinking is, if they don't win in the second round, they don't go past the Celtics, all of a sudden you're like, maybe Tibbs isn't the guy. And look who's not available. A coach who's won an NBA championship.
Look.
And so he understands how to win. Could he get the best out of Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby? We think so. Michael Malone, how are you doing? So,
okay.
There's a lot of thoughts, a lot of questions out there in general, but the big one here is Malone and Booth fired with 4 games to go in the season.